Never caught in the moment, on my toes for the right now. My nigga, I'm focused, never follow the crowd. Let me throw on my crown. And motherfucker, you address me as such, cause I'm king. And put respect on my name like Brian Williams, And if you lucky, might have mercy, just might keep your neck. Cause heads roll for less. If playing me is your goal, I'm Shaquille at the net. Niggas know I'm a problem, tatted hope on my chest. Yeah, look, I was tired of playing Clark Kent, hiding my potential, knowing that I was God sent, knew that I was different when nobody saw my vision, put that work in myself and then ran ahead of the competition.
Man, I swear, every time I hear that motherfucking intro, I just love getting into the groove, bro. Like, seriously, I'm over here feeling good. So again, shout out to my brother Eugene O'Neal, and shout out to my brother Dank Sinatra for putting that honest asshole intro together. What up, what up, what up? You already know who it is. It's the one and only Mr. Vega, the Messiah. Thank you. You already know what the fuck it is, baby. It is 2026. We are 23 days in 2026. And I'm out here feeling pretty good, you know? Back on my health tip. I'm 12 pounds down. I've been at the gym getting it popping. Belly is shrinking. Visible penis. And I love it because this is what I do. You know, I always make sure that when I get on my health tip, I always make sure that the things that matter and visible penis matters. So you already know what it is. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Now, the Messiah has a very, very dark sense of humor. I'm always making people laugh when I do crazy shit, especially when it involves me. So that right there is just a little snippet of my dark humor, you know. But I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. We are going on 5 years. Honest assholes. 5 years, baby. 5 years. And it don't seem like it, but 5 years. It's a long time. But I've accomplished a whole lot with this show. We have so many segments. I've had so many guests. And I'm missing a little something. My signature shades, you know, so I have to make sure my shades is on this week, you know, because this week's episode, we're about to do like I want to say a crossover, you know, because y'all know the moment with the Messiahs, that's my baby. I've had so many people on Moment with the Messiahs. I've interviewed so many people, of course, rappers, authors, comedians, up and coming actors, former and current adult stars, content creators, adult content creators. Like, I don't discriminate. So I tell people, my bro, he kind of took a shot at me. I kind of thought it was a little bit of hate because he said, am I a podcaster or do I just interview porn stars? And I'm like, I'm media personnel. I do all that shit. So fuck you for being a hater, and you can do one thing and you can kiss my ass. You feel me? Because the Messiah is very fucking versatile. I do it all. I'm not just gonna limit myself and just why would I just interview rappers, especially local rappers at that? No. I'm not gonna limit myself. So again, when you see the moment with the Messiahs, it's all versatility. I've had all people on. I'm gonna continue to have all people on. Because that's what I do. I'm gonna continue to kill shit. You feel me? Racking the bodies up, you know? But again, I want to thank y'all for rocking with the Messiah and Honest Assholes. We've been going strong. We're on Spotify, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. That's the main home. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's the Honest Assholes YouTube channel. Just type it in. So tonight's episode, let's get up in this thing. Now, I said earlier we're about to do a hybrid episode. We're about to do a little bit of Moment with the Messiah mixed with a little bit of Honest Assholes actual episode. That goes along with my guest tonight. Now, this woman has had her Moment with the Messiah, I want to say about 7 to 8 months ago. It was fun. We had a good time. She came out, did her shit, opened up to her fans about things that you know, people didn't know about her. And I felt like we connected on another level as far as the media because she has a wonderful personality. I have a wonderful personality. She has a sense of humor. I have a sense of humor. And when you put that shit together, you get greatness. So, with that being said, I want y'all to welcome my guest tonight. Let's go on. We're going to set this episode off right. She had her moment with the Messiah, but now she's going to have a moment with the Messiah while being an honest asshole. Please welcome tonight's guest, the one and only MissBehavin. What it do, boo?
I First of all, congratulations on 5 years for the podcast. That's amazing.
Yes, yes, you already know, and it's. I want to thank you for coming back. This is a little bit of your moment slash honest asshole moment. Does that sound pretty? Does that sound pretty good?
Hey, I've always fessed up to being an asshole. Not sure about the honest part always, but I tell it like it is if that's what we mean by honest.
Man, that's real. What's that right there, Miss Behave? Is that some new merchandise right there?
Oh, this is my football jersey because I am a huge college football fan. And so I thought, why don't I mix my two loves, my fun side and my football side, and I make a little jersey for Misbehaving with the QR code. The whole idea was so that people would be able to walk around with their phones scanning my shirt. Of course, they're really going to come up to me and scan my boobs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's a
And
lucky
so
fan.
so the thing is that you can um, scan the QR code, and it does go where it's supposed to go, but I have to hold it out straight. I can't let body parts cause any wrinkles in the fabric, so it really doesn't achieve what it was supposed to. So that is about the story of my life for so many
Man,
things.
let's give her a round. Let's give a round of applause for her sense of humor.
Hey.
I'm telling you, Misbehaving, you got that sense of humor. I see that when you're posting your reels, when you're posting, all that good stuff. So it's like mixed with your content, that makes it extremely dope. So I want to thank you
Oh,
for coming out and just rocking with me, girl.
well,
Thank you.
thank you, Messiah. But I got to tell you, when as you age and you start to learn yourself a little bit more, you start discovering some deep seated, probably psychological stuff that causes you to react to certain things. And I just feel like, if you can't laugh at things, what fun is that? So I laugh at things that you're probably not supposed to. I laugh at things that you are supposed to. And, I'm just a smart ass, period. And I'm to a point in my life that I don't make any bones about it. I don't make any apologies, and I don't give a fuck.
Y'all heard what the fuck she said. She don't give a fuck. Man, so with
Hey,
that being said, you are so welcome to be back in the house of the Messiah, the honest asshole, because it's been about 8 months since we had
yes, it
an
has.
interaction, But
It
man,
has.
your moment with the Messiah was dope. I liked it. I was going back, I got some clips that I re-edited, so I want to put the
Uh-huh.
clips back out there to remind people, hey, this was her moment with the Messiah. This is what she had
I don't
going
know
on.
what it was about that first podcast. It just felt effortless, easy. You were just fun and easy to talk to. And the, to me, the hardest part about doing this is that I gotta put my makeup on or something. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear because half the time I don't have clothes on anyway. So,
No, I feel
so,
you.
but you were talking about you could see my sense of humor. I just feel like, I tell people I would rather be funny than pretty any day because, in my opinion, funny requires you to be smart enough to be funny.
Mm.
Therefore, I am really a smart ass.
And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm a smart ass. I talk a lot of shit. If you are on
Mhm.
my social media, I should know the Messiah has no filter. I goes in. You
I
know what I'm
know. I
saying?
know.
I'll be having to pump my brakes sometime because now that my Facebook is making money, I don't want to get thrown in Facebook jail. So that's why I
Oh,
try to like keep it a little PG, but at the same time, I try to keep my I don't give a fuck mentality because at the same time,
right,
I have to make sure I'm me. I have to make sure I'm doing me,
right.
and that has to do with tonight's episode. You know what I'm saying? Content creators
Hmm.
watched by millions, judged by all.
Judged by all. Good, bad, or ugly, it doesn't matter. But you know what? Here's the thing, whether you're watched or not, people are going to judge you no matter what you choose to do. They're going to have something to say about it, good, bad, or ugly. And you know, I welcome constructive criticism and stuff, but you know, I struggle with being judged a lot for this because, you know, it has damaged friendships and maybe
Mhm.
put some distance, you know, between some that are not completely damaged, you know. But I just don't get it because I'm sure we all judge people and we do it unknowingly, you know.
Yeah.
But I've just gotten to a point in my life where I have got to not worry about other people's opinions. And that's pretty much the way I've been all my life on the outside. I'm not always that way on the inside, but that's the persona I want to be. That's what I strive to do is not care about what anybody else thinks cuz when push comes to shove, you know, they're not going to be changing your bedpans when you're old. You know, they're not going to be
Yep.
helping you after surgeries and things like that. It's going to be the people that love you, no matter what your faults might be or the choices that you've made and how much they may not disagree with them. So in the end, it's just a waste. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of emotions, and it is such for the people that are doing the judging, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't tell people that I'm an OnlyFans girl unless they already know.
Well, for me, there's a saying that one of that my favorite rapper Jay Z has said. He said, "What you eat don't make me shit."
What you eat don't make me shit. Okay.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
that's really how you got to look at it because people are going to give an opinion.
Yes.
People are going to be judgmental
Hmm.
on certain things, especially in your field. You know,
Yes.
you being in that field, the sex worker, adult
Hmm.
content, adult creator, adult star, whatever, etc. You're always going to get some type of judgment,
Right.
especially like I've had multiple adult stars on my show, and I've seen and dealt with not seen well not dealt with just seen and heard their stories and how and
Hmm.
all the judgment that they get. I
Right.
believe on your moment with the Messiah. Now this is you already put this out there. You've already
Hmm.
said that you used to be a teacher,
Right.
and when you're in that world, you don't really get too much judgment unless it's from the parents that are may have you mistreated my child or something or whatever. But the moment you cross over, go to where you're at now, okay,
Hmm.
now you get to see ass, now you get to see titties, all this shit. Now the judgment is here.
Hmm.
People are gonna judge you for just doing that shit. Hey, I'm pretty sure
Right.
you had some people be like, "Oh, how the hell she go from being a teacher to just popping pussy online or whatever,
Pocket
just
pussy
all that."
online, which I have, by the way.
So it's like, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like people have. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen that and
Hmm.
said that to you. And
Yes.
you said on the moment with the Messiah, there's been people that you grown up
Hmm.
with or just be super
Yeah.
cool with that just look at you totally different. So
Oh yeah. Oh
for
yeah.
in your own words, why do you feel that people were so quick to judge you and cut you off? When you crossed over to that world.
I feel like it has a whole lot to do with whatever form of family structure you grew up with and how what was accepted in that, you know, pretty much geographical area and time. For example, I grew up on a farm, a small pig farm, really poor. And, you know, I grew up in a very strict Southern Baptist, Pentecostalish um, church that, we didn't even have a piano because they didn't believe in music. There was also no
Oh
bathroom
wow.
inside. There was also no bathroom inside the house. Yes, we had an outhouse, not even a porta potty, an outhouse. So
Well, damn.
so when you look back at the way I was raised, this goes against every single thing I was ever taught to believe was good and pure. And trust me, I have never professed to be pure, but there's a whole bunch that I'm good at. So, but I think it has a lot to do with whatever values you were raised with and what you were taught to believe, because as a child, we don't grow up with our own opinions necessarily. We form our opinions based on, our home life, our school life, our peers and things like that, our parents. And, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, I do feel like as much as religion, professes to not be judgmental, it comes across that that's where a lot of the judginess I feel like comes from. Uh, but I don't think that's the only place that it comes from. I think it comes from anybody who, if you're doing something, you're successful at it, you're doing a good job at it, and, you know, I don't care what it is, you're likely going to get judged by others, period.
Yeah.
And you said something very interesting, Messiah. You said that as a teacher, who am I going to get judged by? By the parents? Let me tell you something, Messiah. Uh,
Talk it.
Holy shit. Let me tell you, those parents are brutal, especially when you're a math teacher,
Mm,
because where I taught, it was more of an affluent area with a lot of the demographics, the one or both parents had gone to college, were at least middle class or higher for a lot of the population. And Lord knows I better not give their child less than an A, regardless of the fact that they, earned a D.
mm.
It was brutal. I mean, brutal. And it becomes personal when you pour your heart and soul into their child every single day. Because the fact of the matter is, and I'm not saying this is a bad reflection on parents, but teachers spend more time with their kids during the day while they're growing up than parents often do. And that's just a reflection of our society. So I understand why it's very personal to them, but it's very personal to a teacher that cares about her job and her effect that she has on her students. And my only goal when I was teaching was to make my students want to learn more, not just learn what I'm teaching them, but challenge themselves to do more and to do better. And, not all parents like it when you challenge their kids. They don't. So I'm sorry. That judgment has been just as severe in my experience, but I do get what you're saying.
Well, that's why I said like the title, content
Yes.
creators. Content creators. Now,
Hmm.
y'all gotta understand something, okay? Content creators, it's not just sex workers.
Hmm.
Yes, it falls into that. There's a lot of sex workers that, content creators, whatever you want to call it. But
Hmm.
when you say content creators, a lot of content creators just get judged in general.
Yes.
And they get judged by people that are not content creators because we live in a time and an era where content creators a lot of content creators can really make a living and make money off
Yes.
this shit.
Right.
Like that's just what it is. Like we have
Right.
to accept the fact that the media business has elevated to a whole nother level. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I've had my fair share of judgment. I used to
Hmm.
go hard on only OnlyFans models, bitches, whatever you want to call it. Like
Right.
like man, I stayed going hard on that because you know I'm from an era where if you fucked a lot of dudes or whatever, you get considered as a hoe, all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, she a skeezer, she a slut, whatever. I'm from the '90s, early 2000s era,
Mhm.
and I'm only 40. But as the world shifted and it changed, it's stopped becoming. Some people really just stopped giving a fuck about what people think.
Mhm.
That's why I feel like the sex industry has elevated, and because there are so many people that just don't care
Right.
anymore. They just don't care about being judged. They don't care about being called a slut. You got some women that are
Mhm.
proud sluts, that are proud whores, or whatever you
I
want to
that'd
call it.
be me because the thing about getting judged, especially as a female doing stuff like this, is that we're judged much more harshly than I believe men are.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and okay, what's wrong with a confident woman who's confident not just in her intelligence, her personality, but in their sexuality? What's wrong with that? That is called being human. That we're all part of the animal kingdom. We all fuck. Excuse me.
Nah, talk that shit. It's honest
I
assholes.
mean, what happened to why is that so bad for a woman to be confident and express her sexuality and as long as it's in a legal and in a way that is not hurting others? Why is that bad? Why is that a big deal?
Well,
Why?
to some people, and I'm just gonna. This isn't me answering that. This is just
Right.
me putting this out there because like I said, we live in a different world now,
Hmm.
and the
Yes.
world used to be to where yes, women, a lot of women get judged more because
Mhm.
nowadays a lot of women, I get a lot of women talk a lot of shit about men, not being real men anymore, not being
Right.
worthy husbands, not being worthy leaders. And then nowadays, when we live in a world when you got women that are proud sluts, you got women that are married being
Hmm.
slutted out because of the type of relationship that they're in, and you got a lot of people that just don't agree with that lifestyle. They just
Right.
don't see that lifestyle. Shout out to my brother D Nut, who's part of the show. He's a guy who got into it with I want to say probably like 2 or 3 sex workers that's been on the
Hmm.
show with us, like because
Right.
he just doesn't he just doesn't respect their lifestyle. He feels like you know why be in a fucking relationship? Why be in married if you're gonna just be a hoe or a slut?
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not the one to be in those type of relationships either, but I'm not gonna judge it because
And see, that's my point.
I've seen people. Well, see, here's the thing. I dabbled in the LS community. I've talked to multiple,
Hmm.
had sex with multiple swinger women. A lot of older
Right.
ones at that. Especially when I was out here single doing my shit. And that's when I came to realize, like, not everybody is meant to live the regular life. Like some people, I tell people all the time, like especially people who are not familiar with the LS terminology,
Hmm.
vanilla. Some women, some
Right.
people look at the regular lives, the married lives, just being with one person for the rest of their life. A lot. There's a lot of people, preferably in the swinger world, that just they can't live their lives like that.
Right.
I was telling bro, like, look, there are people that are looking at us in these regular relationships that they can't live our lives, bro. They don't want to. They don't
Right.
and we can't judge them, because
Right.
like you talked about at the beginning of the episode, religion, the whole world has painted this
Hmm.
picture where you have to live a certain lifestyle. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I tell people like, listen, man, like we have to really realize that not everyone can live certain lifestyles.
Yeah.
Now, the swinger life for somebody like me, being in that world, it was fun. I had some of the best sex I've had has been
Right.
in the swinger world, but I just knew in the back of my mind that that wasn't a world that I can just be in. I couldn't live that
Right.
life. That just wasn't me. But I'm not going
Right.
to judge. I didn't judge it.
Right.
So, but nowadays, I just feel like this, and this is just the Messiah putting this out there. If you're going to be a proud swinger, slut, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's cool. You can live your business. But
Yes.
here's my thing. You can't get mad or expect certain to attract a certain type of men. Like, okay, yeah, if you're putting your ass and your titties out there and all this shit, of course you're gonna get guys in your DMs sending dick pics. Of course you're gonna
Of
get guys in your
course.
DMs telling you how much they want to fuck
Hmm.
you or all this other stuff. But you can't get mad at that. I see women in that community, like in the sex worker community, get mad, post make posts saying like, "All you thirsty ass men, stay on my DM, posting dick pictures and all this other shit." Okay, I understand it can be annoying, but what the fuck
Mhm.
did you really expect?
I mean, some people don't realize that, in one sense of the thought, we're making them thirstier. So you can't, then judge them or blame them for being thirsty.
Exactly.
But right. So I never get upset when somebody sends me those pics. I just, politely say, please don't send those. And most of them are really nice about not sending them. And then when they're not, I'll block them. But,
That's simple.
I mean, and I don't, and here's the thing. Not everybody is meant to live the lifestyle, whether you call it a swinger lifestyle, you know, we call ourselves lifestylers and exhibitionists, really more so because we're not technically swingers. And but we certainly don't judge people who either are or aren't. There's lots of people, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Messiah, but we own a condo at a swingers resort that we go to at least once a month. It's our mental therapy, especially in the winter. So we're going to be there next weekend, but we go there, and we haven't always lived this kind of life. Never. We didn't raise our kids to live this kind of life. As a matter of fact, I raised my kids to live the same kind of life I thought I was supposed to live. And there's still nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that, because I'm very proud of the way that we raised our boys. And I'm very proud of the way that I grew up. But part of growing up is realizing that there's some point that you can make your own choices, that you can make your own decisions. And I'm not going to judge someone. I may not agree with it. I may say, well, why are they doing that? But I'm not going to judge them for it, especially if that's how they're paying their bills. I just get frustrated because when when we started all of this was about 6 or 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and we had no clue what we were getting into. I had simply just texted my husband and said, I want to go somewhere where we can fuck in public. He's like, okay, do they make places like this? I said, right here.
Okay.
Because I'd
Real
already done the
quick.
research.
All right. So real quick,
Hmm.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick. I just want to
That's
ask
good.
you while it's tip on my tongue. Now,
Uh-huh.
you said 6, 7 years ago, right?
Right.
Okay. So I have to ask. I'm
Of
just
course.
curious.
Please do.
What what got it to that? Like, what made y'all just okay? Because you just said that you raised your
Hmm.
kids to do the
Yes.
regular way and all that stuff, and just
Right.
like you were, and you and your husband obviously been together for a while. So I have to
Hmm.
ask, like, what what got it to that? What led to where y'all wanted to try that? Like, what
Right.
was it dull in your relationship? Like, I'm just curious because I know a lot of people, especially in the LS, that
Hmm.
they didn't. Some couples meet in the LS and they get married into it, but
Right.
some people were never had no interest in it
Right.
before, but they just all of a sudden they did. So that's why I have to ask you, like, what
Okay.
what, what led to that?
So it was nothing about being a quote swinger that was enticing, and it was nothing about things being dull. As a matter of fact, I think that's the exact reason you should not go to places like that until you've fixed some of those issues in your relationship. A lot of people go to these places thinking it's going to help their relationship if it's dull or if they're having
Mm-mm-mm.
issues and stuff. And God forbid, that is the wrong reason to ever do that. But we were to a okay, Messiah, here's the thing. I have always lived with an inner hoe inside me. I've always known that I'm a slut on the inside.
Oh man, listen, man. Hey, she just killed it with that.
I mean, but it's the truth. I mean, but it's only until, about 6 or 7 years ago that I even would have felt comfortable saying that. And granted, we've been married almost 23 years, be 23 years on Valentine's Day. And my husband used to be a pilot. And I didn't even
What?
say it. I did not even say it to his face. I sent it in a text while I knew he was flying, and I knew he wasn't going to be home for a couple of days so that he
Yeah.
could think about it before responding. If he just reacted to it and I was in the room and he wasn't a good reaction, I didn't want to be around. So I
Oh
thought,
man.
but for me, I've always known that about me. But for me, and I think a lot of women might resonate with this, that, are not in their 30s necessarily. But for me, it kind of all started with the 50 Shades of Grey series,
Here we
so to speak.
go. Here we go.
Have you had other people tell you that?
All I'm gonna tell you is this. All I'm gonna say is this.
Mm-hmm.
When that era kicked, because mind you, y'all gotta realize these years fucking fly. That whole 50 Shades of Grey shit, that shit was 10 years ago, yo.
I
That shit was like
know.
2014, 2015.
I
So I
know.
will, and they made like, I wanna say what, 3?
I think
So,
4. I think 4.
4, okay. So when I just feel like, because again, I dabbled in the swinger community, so I really feel like when that fucking book and movie and all that, when the weekend came out with that
Mm-hmm.
song to the
Yes.
soundtrack, I really felt like,
Oh,
okay, oh, nigga,
yeah.
oh, I was like, nigga, this shit right here is
Mm-hmm.
it's going to a whole nother level. The sex work
Yes.
skyrocketing, the slut level skyrocketing, people's sex drive
Mm-hmm.
skyrocketing. Like I'm trying to tell you, bro, when that shit hit the scene, that's when I wanted to fuck way more Krugers and older, sexy women.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was doing it, just running through it, like
You're just doing it.
just doing the shit because, and then you see all the books and all
Mm-hmm.
these sex novel books and shit. I'm like, bro, like whoever was the person who put that book and movie
Mm-hmm.
together, kudos, my G, because
Yes.
it's out here. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. So I do feel like that kind of spurred it on a little bit because let me tell you, Messiah, I am not a reader. I am too ADD. I can't sit still. I can't sit still long. I can't focus enough. I mean, you're talking to someone. Get this. The last time we were at Secrets Hideaway, which is the condo I was talking about at the swingers place, it was the end of the night. And sometimes I get really into costumes. I know you had to have seen some of my costumes on Facebook,
Of
right?
course, every
so
season.
so I have the wigs, I have the shoes, I have the contacts. Most of the time that I'm in a big costume that gets lots of attention, my husband has coordinated a great outfit and he looks phenomenal because he has like these abs forever. And
My
so
guy, my guy is cut.
he is.
He reminds me of the strong dude that was in the first Avatar, the bad guy. I was like,
Uh,
oh, okay, this guy, he on that status. He's buff. I see
He is
him.
definitely buff. I mean, he puts me to shame. I mean, I'm soft and squishy. He's not. But anyway, we normally are coordinating outfits and stuff. And at the end of the night, I was taking out my contacts, and I'm so ADD that I'd taken out one, put it away. I took out the other one mid removal. I've got to go evidently do something else right then. I dropped my contact, and when I come back to try to remember what I was in the process of doing, I realize I dropped my contact. That's how ADD I am. So I'm not a reader, but those 50 Shades of Grey books, I think the first or second one, probably the first one, I read that thing 3 or 4 times.
I bet you did.
I had some of the pages dog-eared. I'd go back and read certain scenes that turned me on. It was like, holy fuck. And
See,
when your husband works a job where he's gone most of the time, and at that point in time the boys were old enough to drive, it was like, well, shit, what am I going to do with myself over here? So it kind of also got some things churning. And you'll laugh at this, Messiah, because for one, we used to have a lake house out in the boonies, and my girlfriends would go and party there. When I'm not going to tell my age, but when I was in my 40s. Okay, fuck it. I turned 42, and
there you go.
we were selling the lake house, so it was going to be the last party at the lake house. And my girlfriends talked to my husband, got the keys to the house, not broke into the house. They got into the house, and they decorated it all up. They gave me a 50 Shades of Grey surprise birthday party where all
Damn.
they had made cupcakes. They had made 50, and all of them were a
What?
different shade of icing and gray. We had a blow up. What's his name? Christian Grey. We had a blow up doll who had the white. What do you wear? A t-shirt or a button down and blue jeans. What he always had on. Are you still there, Messiah?
I'm here. I'm
Oh, okay,
cooking.
because normally I can see you and you disappear. And so I would be driving us around in the boat. We'd have Christian over there in one of the ladies' laps, and so we had a red room. If you read the book, you know what that is. And we had they had taken those little silver balls that you put in vases for flower arrangements. They were all over the house, in my pillowcases, in my boat, in my food, everywhere. When we moved out of that house, we were still finding silver balls. Do you know? Do you know what silver balls are in the
What?
Christian? Do you know what they are? Okay, in the book series, they represented Benoit balls, which I'm not sure you know what that is either, but it's what us women put up on in there to exercise those pelvic muscles.
Oh,
And it's supposed to help us have a tighter grip, and actually, for some it may make them horny having them in all day or whatever, I don't know. So anyway, there were silver balls all over my house, but I kind of think that's where it got started. And then there was one, Messiah, I don't even know if our podcast is long enough for this, but I started using a health supplement that you take the inner whore that I already was, and you put it on steroids and then give it speed. That was my sex life then. That is, I could have fucked a doorknob.
well,
And
shit.
so I probably was I needed to surely, we could have more fun with this. And so, but it was something I wanted to explore with my husband. If it wasn't with my husband, it wasn't anything I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
I think when relationships have been together so long, it's easy for things to get dull, like you said, or bored, for lack of a better term. Um, but you also get into such a routine that you stop experimenting sexually. And okay, this is a future topic, Messiah. You need to ask me how I learned to give good blowjobs or why and all that. That's a whole episode. But it just gets to a point where there's got to be something new. When you've been married 20 years and you wake up with the same person every day, you go to bed with the same person today, and you love the person immensely, you want to do more things with them. You want to have more fun with them. You want to explore things that you've never explored before. At least that's the way I am. And so that's really what it was. And so I sent him a text while he was flying that said, "Honey, I'd like to go somewhere where we can fuck in public." I I had sent him a text years before during the Christian Grey um, book series that asked him a pretty kinky question that was out of his comfort zone, and he looked at me like I had three heads, and he didn't respond to my text message and for 2 days. I didn't hear from him while he's flying, and so I thought, okay, well, I guess he doesn't want to do that. So I was really tentative about even sending him this text, but on this one, he decided to respond immediately. And he was like, "Oh, do they make places like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's right here." And when he got home, we booked 2 trips to Hito in Jamaica. Two, not just one, two.
Two. She
So
said two.
we two, and he loved it. I mean, he was the first one to feel comfortable taking his clothes off, because people don't realize people are walking around naked doing unsexy things that we all do, like trying to sit in a lounge chair.
Well, well, I will say this. That right there goes along with what I'm
Yes.
gonna ask you
Okay.
because I took a little bit of notes, not too much, but I
Uh-huh.
just I just took a little bit just to see if you agree because I think
Okay.
it might pertain to what you went through or
Okay.
as far as your transition to from a teacher to what you're doing. So I gotta ask you,
All
I want you
righty.
to see if you agree with this. Now they said, oh, the overview and the judgment of adult stars and sex workers. Now this is what they was stated.
Mm-hmm.
Adult stars, sex workers, including porn actors, escorts, cam models, whatever, are frequently judged and stigmatized and marginalized in society despite their work being legal in many regions. Now, do you agree with that?
I agree that that's the case. Yes. Do I agree that that's the way that it should be? No.
Mm.
If I'm not,
That's what I was getting at. I said, but go ahead.
what did I? Am I not answering the question?
No, I was wondering, like, why don't you agree with that? Because, some workers might agree, but I want to know why
No, I
Misbehavin.
do agree with what you said. I agree that sex workers, we get judged even though what we do is legal, right? We get judged as being bad influences, um, you know, negative connotation things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that statement, but do I agree that that's the way it should be? No.
Okay. Now, why is that? Why don't
As long as I'm doing something legal, why do you give a fuck?
you?
You
There you
know,
go.
I'm not hurting you. I'm not causing harm to you, nor your family, nor your friends. I don't judge you. Why do you have to judge me? I see that it just goes back to the hypocritical double standard that just eats in my cross sometimes. I swear. And it always has. It's never just been about doing sexy stuff. It's always, regardless what you do. Why does anyone else feel that they are so superior that they can make judgments like that? Okay, did you have other questions? I'm sorry, I
No,
talk too much, don't I?
no.
Okay.
This is what it is. Like I said, that's why I feel like this topic was perfect for you. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I
I
want you
thought
to
you had a
talk that
list of
shit.
questions though, and I
No,
thought,
no,
well, I
no,
better
no,
shut
no.
up or he's never gonna get through
Mm-mm.
that list.
No, no, because this is the thing. Like when I take these notes, because like I said that they necessarily they be questions, but I really just want to know if you really agree with them or not. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like this right here. Because now, how many years you said you was a teacher again?
22.
All right, 22 years. Okay. And again, you stated on the moment with the Messiah, you made that transition because you make more money, right?
Oh no, not because I make more money. No. Mm-mm. Because I decided to quote, for lack of a better term, retire early, and I
Hmm.
was bored, which is why I started doing online sexy stuff.
Now the only reason why I brought that up because they said in economic reality. Again, y'all, this is the notes that the Messiah took. I've been on went to AI. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Got certain highlighted notes, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll be surprised, man. This shit is wild. So they said again, economic reality. Many adults in the adult industry report that earning higher income more than the traditional low wage jobs. They said in 2020, mind you, this is 6 years ago, post
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, they said in 2020, a survey was found that over 70% of online adult creators chose to work for financial establishment and
Mm-hmm.
flexible hours.
Right.
Now, when you
Well,
make that transition, can you kind of agree with that, or you don't know?
I think that depends. First of all, the whole boom in being a a sexual content creator came about as a result of the pandemic. That's when a lot of people didn't have jobs. They weren't getting paid. They were getting government checks during the lockdown and those kinds of things. And, they needed something else to do. At the same time, you've got people who's not working, because none of us could, um, and they're bored and they got extra money to spend because they didn't expect to get government checks, but some of them are still collecting their salary, right? So that's kind of, I believe, how the big boom of OnlyFans started. So at that time, I would it wouldn't surprise me if lots of people were making lots of money on some of these platforms. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that some of them were. And so, yeah, it was fun money as opposed to, but let me tell you, anybody who thinks that this stuff is easy, Jesus, oh Lordy, they are smoking that peace pipe dry because it ain't. But aside from that, for me, it has not been that kind of lucrative financial decision for me, but that's also part of my choice. You know, I no longer work, but I'm very ADD. I'm very energetic. I always got to have something to do or I will get into trouble. So so I've always got to have a project going. So for me, I looked at it more in those terms. And hey, you know, it allows me to write off certain expenses that I wouldn't ordinarily do. Have fun at the same time. It's joining this whole lifestyle, regardless of being a creator, has caused our relationship to blossom and grow and get stronger and deeper. With that, I can also say we've probably had more arguments since we've started the lifestyle. But when you're not in the lifestyle and you're not discussing some of those things that might really be issues, then they can become a problem. But for us, once we started the lifestyle, it broke down so many barriers and so many walls we all put up, even amongst the two of us, that it allows us to talk about tough topics that are difficult. So for me, it wasn't for financial reasons. It was because, mama's bored and she needs some new shoes. but I but I would agree with you that in 2020, if those statistics were from 2020,
Mhm.
which is the year that COVID, we all got put
Yep.
on lockdown in
Yep.
March.
Yep.
And so people needed something to do. They needed a way to make money, and they weren't sure where they were going to get it at that point because, the government assistance didn't come through immediately, I mean,
No.
understandably so. So I just think it was a matter of economics and what they could do during a time of difficult decisions to make in that respect. And so, but in doing so, I know that lots of them made lots of money and probably still do, because to me it seems like, and I could be totally wrong on this, but so this is strictly based on my opinion, I feel like if you got started then you're probably still on a good trajectory in that respect on all these platforms. And if you didn't, then you've had to work in different ways that other people, it may have come so easy for. So I didn't have a social media following and stuff, when I started, didn't have any of that. So
Now you got a
I
big
literally,
following.
I do, but on some of on some of the socials, it's just become stagnant. So you kind of get to the point where what used to work doesn't, and you're constantly having to evolve based upon what the technologies are that get you out there more. And that's just the way it is. So I do feel like a lot of girls did it for economic reasons, but I guarantee you there's a lot of girls that did it at a very young age instead of getting trained in a skill or going to college and things like that. And eventually this, whatever cash cow this may have been for some of us, is going to run out, I'm afraid, sooner or later. I can't, I'm not going to be doing this when I'm of a certain age. I'm not sure what age that is, because some people would say I shouldn't be doing it at my age now. So
Hey, listen, man. Like I said, Mama said she needed new shoes.
I needed new shoes. Amen, motherfucker.
I heard the hell out of definitely. We got to clap on that one. So before we wind down, I just want to ask you, because this is on the last part of the notes, but I want to see if you agree, because I feel like what we talked about on this episode, it's a lot of reasons why people are judged. So they said common reasons why adult stars, adult creators, sex workers are judged. and it's a whole list of them. See, so I'm gonna see if you agree or not. So,
I'll just say yes or no this time.
I mean,
Okay.
be like, number one, it's because morals and religious beliefs, and we touched on that. Remember?
Yes, and I
Talk
think
that
that that is
shit.
the number one reason. And you probably just saw my hands go because I
Yeah,
was
that's what
about
I'm
to go
saying.
off on
Talk.
that soapbox. But how come? Who has that authority to judge whether you're a morally proper person or not? I don't have that authority to judge you, my neighbor, my husband, no one. I don't have that authority. So who gave others that authority to judge people that do this? I don't get it.
Mm,
Uh, who gave them the authority to come up with the definitions of what moral is?
telling you. See, this is why. See, I knew it. I knew you was gonna touch on a lot. So, number two,
Hmm.
gender bias.
In what respect?
I mean, they say women, including LGBT workers,
Mhm.
face harsher judgment than male
Oh, then
competitors.
guys, I would totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I feel like women are judged more harshly. I'm not because traditionally maybe we're seen as the weaker of the two. I'm not sure. There's always been that double standard, of boys will be boys, kind of thing. So I think for guys to do this, it perhaps is more acceptable for them to be, more sexual. But it's never been that way for women. And here's the thing, in the lifestyle, I do, in my personal opinion, in the lifestyle, I believe women are in charge. Whether they know it or not, women are in charge. Um,
Mm,
we just are. That's a whole other episode. But I do think that we've all grown up where, you know, there's different rules to play by, whether you're a male or a female. And I think that still exists in everything we do today, especially in the adult content world.
now, I didn't really understand this one. Um, they just put it out as one of the reasons why uh,
Hmm.
there were sex workers and content creators are judged is because double standards. Consumers of adult content are rarely judged. Producers and performers carry the stigma instead.
Producers and performers. And
Yeah,
who did you say is rarely judged?
they said the consumers of the adult content are rarely judged. It's the
Uh,
producers and the performers. They the
oh, this
ones
is a
that
major
carry
pet
this.
peeve. This is a major pet peeve of mine. Okay, you know, for example, let's just say that one of my friends said, you know, misbehaving, we don't agree with what you're doing. I don't support it in any way, shape, or form. And the way I found out about it is that my adult son called me and said, "Oh, have you seen what blah 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 blah?" But nothing ever got said about, "Oh, I can't believe my son's even looking at that stuff." No, he doesn't get judged for looking at it. Why am I getting judged for doing it? Wh-
Yep.
What What is your opinion, Messiah?
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, the people and the producers that's doing it, they are the ones because in a lot of people's eyes, oh, you're the one that's influencing them to see this shit, or you're the ones that
Mm-hmm.
putting this
Yes.
out there. So I'm like, I can. That's why I
Yeah.
like. That's why when I looked at the notes, I was like, okay, let me bring this up. Because I'm pretty sure she's gonna fucking agree with this shit. Like I'm just saying. So I was like, let me just see.
Well,
So
my entire life, people judging others has always been a sore spot for me. It's always been something I felt um, very strongly about, although I'm just as guilty as others are sometimes of being that judgmental person, and I have to reel it in sometimes. But being aware of that is, half the battle, so to speak. But it just really, because People get judged every day. It doesn't matter what you do. And when I grew up pretty poor, wore hand-me-downs, got excited to go to Goodwill and climb through the stack of clothes until I found that one outfit I was going home with. And we didn't always have electricity. We didn't always have water. So there'd be times that I'd go to school and I wouldn't look quite as nice as some of the others. And I got judged for that. Or I felt judged. Maybe I wasn't getting judged, but I know it was. So, because I literally had one woman, I'll never forget. It was a Friday. My mom and I used to go get Frosties at Wendy's, and I couldn't wait. I was standing in line, and there was this gorgeous couple in front of me. She was very proper, and very nails are done, and hair is coiffed, and this gorgeous ivory dress on. She was just stunning. And I remember her thinking I couldn't hear her, but I did. And she looked at her husband, partner, whatever, and said, if we ever have kids, we're never going to let them look like that. And I thought,
Well, damn.
well, damn, you know, and since that moment, I have appreciated that moment because I took the lesson from it of be careful with your words because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and words can leave lasting scars, you
Can't
know.
put the toothpaste back in the tubes. That's a fucking new one on
You
me.
can't. You can't.
Oh my god, nah, I love it. I love it. See, that's where your sense of humor comes in because you're making you're. I absolutely agree. That's why I'm like
Yeah,
I'm so used to hearing shit like cut the mustard, but she said
right.
you can't put the
You can't put it
toothpaste.
back in. And so, but the lesson I've learned from that is that we should all be very careful with the words that we say and how we say them to our loved ones. And I'm not perfect at that by any means either, trust me. But I will say, even my husband's recognized that when we argue, I select my words very carefully and try not to say things out of hurt or emotion. Now, there's plenty of other times I say things out of hurt and emotion. but
I'm
but
sure.
when we are in the throes of a discussion and argument, I really, really try to only say the things that are going to lead to a productive discussion. And if that's not what I'm going to say, then I have to think about whether or not I want to say it. So, anyway, that's another soapbox you can put me on sometime.
Oh man,
But
we've been cooking because this last one, man. I know it's gonna hit, but we gonna cover as much as possible because this has been dope. You know what I'm saying? So,
I love it. I love people can ask my opinions all day long. I can talk during the whole podcast. They never have to say a word.
well, it's been a tit for tat. We've been doing good. We've been we've been
I
we've
think
been
we have too. That's
yeah.
why I like doing your podcast.
So it's been dope. So they say another reason is types of judgment and the impact and their impact. This is like reasons why sex workers, sex creators are being judged. It's because of types of judgment and because of their impact. They said family, social judgment, family
So,
rejection,
is
social
that
isolation, shame and secrecy.
so? Are you saying that's the effects of being judged as a sex worker?
Yeah, because they're saying that it's by being judged and like is they're being judged is because of the impact that they have, the impact that they're putting out there, and they said it can lead to family rejection,
Oh
social
yeah,
social
yeah.
isolation, shame, and
hmm
secrecy.
Well, I would totally agree with that because, like I've already said, there's people I've never told that I'm an OnlyFans girl. Where I live in a very I live on an island that's only 26 miles over the whole thing. And that's it. And so it's a small community. Not to mention that there was a time for a short period that I taught school here. So even when I go to the gym, I try to make myself look anything but misbehaving. I mean, I look like, I mean, It is funny because my subscribers will say, "Man, I bet the guys hit on you left and right at the gym." And I'm like, if you only knew. I mean, if you only knew, because it's almost like it's not that I go to extra effort to look sloppy or bad, but that's what I've chosen to do because I kind of I don't like people to talk to me at the gym. I want to get in there, get my job done, get out. But
Facts.
yeah, but at the same time, now that I do content creation, I don't want people to recognize me. I don't want people to know me here. And I feel sad. That makes me sad that I feel like I can't always be the person that I really am out in public here, which is also why we only come home to rest
Hmm.
because there's nothing to do here in the winter, especially in the summer is different. But we come home and we crash, we rest so that we can prepare for the next trip, the next thing, whatever that is. Because once that next thing hits, I'm balls to the wall.
Mm,
So,
mm.
but yeah. And here's the thing: when I first started doing this, you would occasionally see girls that would make posts like on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and they'd say, fans, I just wanted to make an announcement that I'm going to be stepping away for this for a little while. I need a mental break and all and at first I used to think, why do you need a mental break? Because this is fun work. But now, after doing it for 3 years, it is extremely taxing. As a female, too, at least for me, it's hard not to take things personally when you feel rejected by, by your fans or your subscribers and stuff. I think people underestimate how much we care about, the people that pay us to be naked, and it is draining. And so I would agree that it leads to isolation because I don't talk to hardly any of my neighbors. I don't talk to anybody really here on the island. But I also only have lived here. I've lived here 12 years, but I've never made where I live my social circle. So, it's not just isolation, but I can definitely understand how it can lead to that. But I think it may affect women differently than it affects men. But I think you might be surprised at how many men go through times that it makes them feel it heightens whatever insecurities they may have. If I had to guess, no one's told me that, but knowing how it affects me sometimes, it probably affects the men in the same manner, but differently. Um, so yeah, I definitely can see that because there's times that I don't want to do it anymore. And that's not me. So,
Well, with that being said, I will say this. Me and Misbehavin', we shot this motherfucker up
yes,
tonight.
we did.
You know what I'm saying? Because tonight I felt like, we connected out there to
Hmm.
people, let them like, hey, listen, you're gonna be if you're gonna do this or do this for a living or whatever, because and it's not just sex creators or whatnot, it's
Hmm.
just content creators in general, including media
Yes.
personnel like myself. Hell, I get
Hmm.
judged. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if you're gonna put yourself in this position or whatever you're doing, you're gonna have thick skin. You're gonna have to be
Absolutely.
prepared to deal with all that shit. Because at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, you're gonna be judged. People are gonna judge and say whatever the fuck they feel like
Hmm.
they need to say. And it's
Yep.
up to you not to engage into it, and it's up to
Hmm.
you to not let it get to you to where you feel like you don't want to do the shit no more. Because if
Right.
that's the case, then you were never meant to do it from the get go.
Yeah, true that. True that. But I can say that I feel like I'm pretty much doing what I was meant to do.
Feel me? I feel the
But
same fucking way.
there's times that I have those momentary moments where I'm like, well, this just isn't worth it. I'm not going to do it anymore. But I agree with you. You have to have a really thick skin, and you have to be willing to put yourself out, knowing that if you're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there for more than what you realize. You're putting yourself out there for the whole world to see you. And therefore, they think it's okay to just judge you however they want. They can say whatever they want. They can type whatever comments they want on your feeds and in your socials. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you just got to have fun with whatever it is you're doing. And when it's not fun, it's time to switch.
There, you fucking have it.
Mm-hmm.
We out here flying like some eagles. That's us doing our shit. We killed it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, bonus question for MissBehavin. If
Yes.
someone comes and asks you, MissBehavin, why are you an honest asshole? What's going to be your response?
Well, I'm not sure if I was supposed to answer it a certain way, but my answer would be that it's just part of my DNA. It's just who I am.
You hear that? Part of her DNA to be an honest asshole. And with that being said, after the free promo, this has been a dope episode. Content creators watched by millions, judged by all. And if you didn't know the reason why, now you know. I want to give a special shout out to my guest tonight, MissBehavin. You are
awesome.
Well, I want to give you a shout out. I love being on your podcast, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass because I don't really know how to lie
good
to you
because
either.
it's a big ass.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me back. I'd love to come back anytime.
Definitely. This was a mixture of Moment with the Messiah. We got to know a little bit more about you, but we got to know your perspective on a whole lot of things. I'm pretty sure vice versa. So shout out to D-Nut, Big Mizzle, Eugene O'Neill, Wit, Juice. Honest Assholes is coming back in a major fucking way this year, y'all. Like, seriously, we are about to the rest of the year. And again, we are on Spotify. We are on everywhere. And MissBehavin, do you have anything that you want to put out there? Anything that you got coming? This is your another part of your moment with the Messiah. So it's a free promo for you.
Well, I am about to go spend a week in the Caribbean with a sexy couple, and I am looking forward to beaches, sunbathing, and tan lines.
There we go. And with that being said, this has been another episode of Honest Assholes. I said Honest Assholes. This is the Messiah. My guest, MissBehavin. Live streaming, coming real soon than ever. This is the Messiah. We are out, baby. Let's get it.